Anyways, um, I'm I don't know if it's just based on. Well, we know it's based on my algorithm. We know how they appeal to us in everything. Anyways, um, so I'm getting inundated. Not just YouTube, not just Google in general. Um, just like the constant advertisements that we all get. More so than not, the last couple days, I've been getting a lot, and I mean a lot of articles, videos, little posts, all this crap about simulation theory again, and there's code in the universe, and blah 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 blah. Right? So I feel compelled to bitch about it, but it's not going to be like the normal bitching. Like I really do just want to nail it home for all of you. So let's get the easy one out of the way. You see the code of the universe when you do DMT. One. And only one. And I don't care how many fans Five Finger Death Punch has out there. I don't care if this guy is an accredited scientist. You can literally get accredited in gender science. And please tell me, other than like special counsels for really rich people, how can you actually use that degree? You can't really. So, let's get this one out of the way. Anything that you have to take an hallucinogenic for, let me repeat that. Anything you have to take a hallucinogenic for, toss it out the window. Seriously, just take that and just drop kick that bitch out the window. If you have to alter your state of mind in order to see something, no. It's like seeing the little fairies. It's like seeing the little fairies and seeing the little freaking, was it green or purple elves when you do ayahuasca? Same thing. Like, how do you even, like, have we all turned into meatheads? Have we all turned into meatheads? There's a two-pronged explanation for that. One, you took a fucking hallucinogenic. Duh. Two, what does a hallucinogenic usually do? It digs down deep into the root of your subconscious and pulls crap out. That's why these things tease you or teach you. It's stuff you already know. It is stuff you already know. You might, because we are constantly compounding information day after day after day, and it all stays there. That's why we have a knowing and an acknowledgement that we exist in the first place. So, let's break down. Now that that one's out of the way, anything that you have to alter your state of mind to be able to see, comprehend. Now, the thing that we are living in a video game. I would put more credence to that we actually live in a black hole. In which case, give me a damn X-wing. Let me shoot off to the nearest black hole that we have in this black hole, if that's the case. And let's see if I can find a fucking way out. Let's see what is on the other side. Yeah, I'm that crazy bastard. I've always been the person like, do not tell me what to do. I will be the first one to rebel against you. I am highly intelligent. I know what moral is. And 99% of people are not moral. So, the fact that I am, there, I have another notch above everybody. Sorry. A lot of people like to say they're moral, but when it comes down to it, are you actually a good person? Do you do the right thing, which is usually the hard thing, versus the easy thing? I'll even be generous, 99% of the time. Not even 100%. We'll just say 99. People like to confuse selfishness and what's best for them as the right thing to do. No. Never. So, yeah, like, I put more credence into us actually existing in a black hole, because it actually makes goddamn sense. Then we live in a simulated reality. I think the mundane and the constant degradation of intelligence, generation after generation, is, and let's not forget PSYOPs, MK Ultra and everything that came after it. If you guys go look up the tactics and everything else that they used in MK Ultra and what they were able to discover and find, and then go watch any commercial that pops up during your YouTube, hell, most of your YouTube videos use MK Ultra. Like, the way people talk, the simple easiness in their voice, and to make sure that they inflect here and down there, and blah, blah. Everything is PSYOP. Everything is being used against you to garner your attention, to garner your money, to garner your subservience. I just had to throw that in there. We're not actually talking about that right now. It is a part of it, and you'll see what I mean. But as a whole, it is not simulation. It is not. And a lot of people, because your attention spans, even from 10 years ago, are deliberately being manufactured to being shorter and shorter and shorter, and you being more reactionary, to literally, they are trying. Like, I call you sheep, I call you children, but we are still at a tipping point where you can step back from the ledge. You can choose not to allow them to inundate you like that. You can choose to make sure that your children are not inundated like that. If you are alive and you are still breathing, then you still have a chance. Whether you take it or not is completely on you, not on me. Sorry for calling out the obvious. But we live in this time that we forget that there were people such as Nikola Tesla. And literally, the only reason you learn about Thomas Edison in school versus Nikola Tesla is because when the government came back to Tesla and said, okay, how much to get this spread out over the country, and what kind of system can we use to charge people for this? Electricity, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. And Tesla famously came back to them and said, oh wait, I thought I was making this for human beings so life would be easier. We would get unlimited free energy for life. What are you talking about charging them? And just based on that response, the government pulled funding, went over to Edison, and Edison is now the person you learn about. And it's only been, what, maybe since my late teenage years, early 20s, that people have actually, like, given a shit about who Tesla was. But I think because you don't really know Tesla that well, a lot of people like to take his quotes, a lot of people like to take his stuff and misinterpret it and really twist it and frame it to however they want it to work. I don't know if they're compromised yet, but because they've gotten so big. But the Y-Files does have a really good light skim for you to go over on who Nikola Tesla really was and what he was able to discover, and the things that to this day the government got their hands on. We don't know how, because I still think they murdered him, but that's just me. Like, everybody could be like, oh, he was old, blah, blah. I think it was murder. It's just, if you actually put in the time to do the research, not just watch the video on the Y-Files, it kind of comes across as murder with what he was working on at the time, living in poverty, every cent going to his experiments. Like, Tesla really, it wasn't that Tesla didn't know how to invest and make money. Tesla did not care about money. Tesla took every dime, every penny he got, and invested it into proving these theories true to advance humanity, to leave the world in a better place than what he found it in, which is something that we should all not just aspire to do, but actually can do. Let's be honest. So, from his experiments and the way he was able to pull electricity literally out of the air, did not need generators to conduct it, anything like that. He found a way to pull electricity out of the air and use it for everyday purposes. Right? And he famously said that understanding the basis of the universe beyond the smallest particle, this universe runs on energy, frequency, and vibration. Anybody who's a fan of the anybody who is a fan of the Flash will get where I'm going with this. The complexity of what it requires to make this real is so unstable and so just a miracle in and of itself, because you have the wave functions of energy coming in, you have the wave functions of vibration coming in, you have the wave functions of frequency coming in, and all of these things collide, and at that center of the collision, the universe is born. And beyond that, it's born in a way that explodes out and over time grows exponentially. There is no code in order to generate that. You cannot even generate an experience like that in a video game. Grasp that for a second. Video game creators on all levels would need to create an animatic, basically a short form video showing the explosion, the creation, everything else. You could not, in actuality, because of code and restriction and everything else, be able to generate an experience like that. It is so random that, yeah, you could call it divine. It is that random and that lucky. And at any time, if the energy drops off enough, if the frequency or vibration drop off enough, we phase, right? Phase out of existence. And debatably, people might remember that we existed, people might not remember we existed because of that fluctuation. It is that random. So no, get it out of your heads, become critical thinkers, grow them up, and realize that's not what this is. This is not a simulation. You're not the main character in your own video game. If you were to actually do the research and understand the translations between what you read in ancient occult knowledge, in ancient esoteric knowledge, and read Tesla, and if you were able to connect the dots for yourself, you would realize that this is a lot closer to a H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror story than anything else. The randomness of everything is so scary, it leans on meaninglessness. Which I'm willing to acquiesce that it absolutely could be. It's just the optimist in me that grasps at, well, everything that has been written down to teach us, for us to go out and find it for ourselves. Because remember, esoteric knowledge is knowledge for the individual to go find for themselves. Exoteric knowledge is the knowledge for the masses. It's the easily consumable stuff. Esoteric is more of that inner journey, that inner finding. If you go down a rabbit hole on something, you're going to find stuff that not everybody knows because they're not into it. They're not an expert on it. They're not invested in that stuff. Everything that is older than your Bible, that is older than your Quran, that is older than your Tao and your I Ching and your Vedics, everything says the universe is alive. It is sentient, and it wonders why it exists. And Tesla, through scientific practice, agreed with this too. Keep that in mind. It is not some esoteric knowledge. It's not something to decode because it's spoken in symbols and riddles and everything else. No. Him sitting down, him doing the math, him doing the experimentation, something that has something to show for it, says that we are all the same. The only thing that separates us is ego, individuation, i.e., you are the universe choosing to have a human experience as you because it wonders, why the do I exist? And isn't it funny that if you break everything down to core fundamentals of a human experience, number one is us questioning why the we exist. What's the meaning of all this? So it could absolutely be meaninglessness, or it could be the universe creating you, creating me, having experiences you to dig up more knowledge than what it can on a grand scale. Because remember, what's the first law of hermetics? What's the first law? As above, so below, as within, so without. So if you're taught duality and you're taught to look at things on a grand scale and a small scale, micro and macro, for those that want to feel special about being in today's times, there's been different names for it for a very long time, and it wasn't micro and macro. All right? Stop feeling like you're fucking special. You are a child wanting attention, if that's the case, and you want to, well, actually, fuck you. There's teachings from thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago that would use different terminology for it. The only reason why it changed is because every generation needs to feel like it's fucking special. Oops, I actually cussed. Oops. So, and through this acknowledgement of the universe, of how everything actually works, how it's actually wave function instead of anything else, how it's actually refracted, and that's why it's more holographic, like an organic hologram. Holodeck. Star Trek, anybody? I missed The Next Generation. Anyways, Deep Space Nine too. Fucking Cisco is the boss. But yeah, to allow yourselves to become so inundated, so controlled, so dependent upon your beliefs in a religion, when your religion is clearly lying to you, it's clearly the same as everything else in this life, is using fear tactics to control you. When everything in the observable universe, everything that is put to the test that you can actually fucking see with your own two eyes, tells you the universe is the macro experience, looking down on itself, wondering why it exists, wondering when this is all going to end, knowing this is going to end, and wanting an explanation for it. And then we are the micro experience, wondering why we are all stardust. There is not individuation. There is not your soul, my soul, everybody else. No. There is only one soul. The unimind, the unisoul, like whatever you want to. Spirituality likes to blow this shit up to no end. But like we've said, there's a little bit of truth in every lie, and there's a little bit of lie in every truth. Because we are so focused on the keyhole view, on the micro view, a lot of us aren't able to step back and see the bigger picture and understand why. But it's literally that. Tesla proved it with science. The guy was able to pull electricity out of the air without using a conductor, without using a generator, without using anything other than his little toolbox. And the only reason Edison is celebrated and charges you up the ass for electricity today is because Tesla wanted to give you that shit for free. And the governments of the world, not just the United States, the world didn't like that answer. They didn't like that he was an actual humanitarian, wanting to leave this place not just better than what he found it, but a whole hell of a lot better. I'll leave you guys to think about everything that I've said tonight. Have a good night.